This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Quip. Well-designed, convenient, compact electric toothbrushes sent to your home with brush head refills every 3 months. And if you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you can get $10 off your first brush head refill. That is tryquip.com/thumbs.
It's not your dad's podcast schedule.
Well, it isn't really.
No.
I used to be on my dad's podcast schedule. That's the opening of an infomercial. Tired of your dad's podcast schedule?
We're not that.
I'm juggling my microphones and they're collapsing on top of me.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me switch to the black and white camera.
Yeah.
And then you can be that guy. Tired of being on a podcast?
Oh, God.
Well, fuck.
There's no way to fix this.
Classic adage.
As the age-old saying goes, fuck you. It's August 31st, 2017.
And this is Important If True.
From Idle Thumbs, I'm Chris Rebo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
You did it. You're here.
We're here in this room.
We're here in this room.
Talking into these microphones. That's how I talk now. That's how I talk.
Jake's the new wacky sidekick. Here on Important If True. Nick, I realized this morning that you and I don't know about Jake, but for the first time, you and I have encountered a fidget spinner.
Oh, yeah.
We have managed to go, like, what seems like years at this point, maybe
I thought I might just go my entire life.
I assumed I would.
Assuming it was just some created meme that didn't actually exist.
Yeah,
they're real.
I assumed I would never encounter one, not intentionally, but I'd been so long without ever seeing one that I figured I never would.
Mm-hmm.
And then a Kingdom Hearts themed fidget spinner appeared.
Oh, is that what it was?
Appeared in the office. Yeah. Did you play with it at all?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any takeaways?
I don't quite get it. You know what's surprising? The sort of like center of gravity of it, like turning it around.
You didn't
in
expect
your
it to be
hand.
gyroscopic, right?
Yeah, that was the surprising
that sort
thing
of
to
like
me.
weird tactile
Yeah.
feeling of that, and being able to like rotate your hand around
Yeah.
and feel the weight of it was.
That
yeah.
said, you're supposed to be able to like do tricks with it and stuff, and I got no sense of
What
that
could you do
whatsoever.
What tricks?
Yeah.
What could you possibly do with this thing that would be impressive to anybody?
You could probably make it balance at weird angles. I mean, if it's gyroscopic, there's surely
It's
things
not,
you can
I
do.
don't know that it's actually gyroscopic though.
Isn't that? Yes, it's centrifugal motion at
Yeah.
least. It's the same.
Something.
It's the same
Yeah.
function as a gyroscope or a bicycle wheel,
Yeah.
which is that it's spinning and then it causes its own sort of internal ability to balance. I mean, like a bicycle wheel spun fast is also a gyroscope. So I imagine a fidget spinner. If you're wondering what the Wikipedia related articles for fidget spinners are, they are gyroscope and fidgeting. So
Yeah, I am like such a fidgeter by nature, and I thought one of the reasons I initially avoided a fidget spinner is because I thought it would be just
destroy you?
destructive to my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't really. It
Didn't pull you in.
do it. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
What do you think? Well, like why? Like what specifically about it is just not satisfying to you?
It's not that it's not satisfying, but it's not idly set. Like you have to
You have to do
manually
something.
spin it with your other hand, and then it's like
Also, you have to hold it in your hand.
right, or just sit it on a desk and look at it. In which case, you're not fidgeting with it.
I
That's
entirely
true.
understand the appeal of
Yeah,
fidget
what is
spinner.
it?
It's to do what it does. I mean, I'm a person who basically is always just holding and opening and closing a pen or like
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
with
yeah.
something in my hand in a meeting.
yeah.
But I will never buy a fidget spinner because of like the cultural coding of the fidget spinner. There's no fucking way I'm going to sit in a meeting at work at like a company
Just
that I
lean
fucking
back.
co-own
Yeah.
with a fidget spinner. Are you kidding me?
Lean back in your chair, one leg over the other leg.
What do you guys think? Bzzz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true actually. Like I do fidget with things, but you're right. I think that would actually be.
But
too
you don't
much.
spin.
No, I don't. I don't spin.
You don't spin.
No.
You've just taken up
God.
vaping instead.
You know what my all-time like favorite fidgeting device is? the back of anything that's battery operated and the battery.
Oh, that's satisfying snap.
God, I love that so much.
love it.
Shit.
You know what
Cracking it open, snapping it back in.
Yeah.
My dad would get so mad. The first thing I would do with any new TV remote is just fucking wreck that
So
thing.
do you mean
and
the
then have to
kind-
tape it back on, and then eventually you lose it, and like. Oh.
Are you talking about the slide?
the
You mean
slide? The
slide one?
slide
Yeah,
one.
that just has the little
slide one.
satisfying bump and then the
Oh,
bump.
my
yeah, the
God.
slide one's cool because
Oh, I love it.
the slide one you can flip it upside down, and then the little latch that goes in is like the
Okay,
correct
so-
like height over the
So,
main
Chris,
body.
if you had a fidget spinner, you know how like scroll wheels on mice have smooth scrolling and clicked scrolling?
Man,
If you-
also real quick, sorry, the slide one you can
Oh my
also
God,
like
you're right.
stick the tab into the hole and sort of
Yes.
like pry
Yeah,
it
yeah,
around.
yeah,
all
yeah,
those
yeah.
kinds of shit.
If
you
you
can
What
do.
Jake's about to say is monumental.
If you had a fidget spinner, the little pinch part, you could press down and it would go and click, and then it would go bzzz, and it would actually be a.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
So then you could just go tick,
It's
tick,
the-
tick, tick,
you know what it
single,
is?
single ticks.
It's the paper towel holder
It is
in your
exactly-
hand.
It is exactly
Oh,
that. It is
it's the
exactly
Cam-
that.
It's the Kamenstein perfect tear.
It is.
Paper towel
Fuck
holder.
everyone. I
Holy
would,
shit.
that's,
Imagine a Kamenstein paper towel holder in the palm of your hand.
Jesus
you
Christ.
don't even need those messy paper towels.
This is in reference to a paper towel holder that Jake endorsed on this podcast several weeks
And then
ago.
we
Which I
immediately
own
It has a
too.
satisfying ratchet click.
Yeah. Oh, it's
we
good.
immediately
pull
sold
out.
5 of those to basically no gain to ourselves. but-
if we actually made the clicky fidget spinner, we'd be selling 5 million of them,
How
and we
is that
wouldn't
not
have to be
real?
podcasting anymore.
You know, Jake, you'd have to basically, if you successfully invented and brought to market a audibly clicky fidget spinner,
I would have to leave the country.
You-
It would, yeah, it would also it would
You-
ruin the country.
you
It would ruin
marry-
the world.
married to a public high school teacher,
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh
you
my
would
God.
have to leave the country
I
and
would.
your
Oh,
marriage.
yeah.
And
I would
your
have to
life.
leave existence. I would have
Holy
to
shit.
use all of that money from the fidget spinner to totally obfuscate my identity
Fuck,
and
that's
disappear.
so good, though. Can you imagine
might
the,
exist.
the satisfaction of like the sort of half press and the bzzz,
Mm-hmm.
the, you
Yeah,
know,
or
like-
just then the single just tick, 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 tick.
yeah.
You would just kill yourself.
Yeah, they do have. I've seen like Kickstarter projects for things that are like multi-fidget device that just has like buttons that make certain clicky noises,
bet they're
and
all
then like a
garbage.
clackety
bet
thing
they're
on the
garbage.
side.
Well,
It's like a Swiss Army
it's
knife
a
for just
Kickstarter
bullshit.
for a keychain that has buttons that you press that play swearing sound effects.
I bet those are trash. We need to do that. We need
Probably.
the like German engineered.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
one function.
Yeah,
So we
right.
could get,
It's called
like-
fidget, but it's spelled like F-I-J with like an
FIDGT.
umlaut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an IKEA.
We
yeah.
bought an old fidget spinner factory in Germany.
We bought a heritage fidget spinner, artisanal heritage fidget spinner.
There is an artisanal heritage
manufactory
fidget spinner factory in Germany, where fidgets are
where
made
fidgets are made.
every summer.
Sorry, that was an oblique reference
Sorry, I don't know why I did
to
that.
a Orson Welles peas commercial.
I should have endorsed that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure that already exists.
Oh
And-
man, actually, you know what that reminds me of, because you said keychains. I have this in my pocket that I've had in my pocket ever since we got back from Ireland. Do I? Yes. I meant to give this to you last week, Nick, and I forgot.
Oh.
In honor of the argument you got in with our Irish friend Ashling about your like basically bullshit Irish heritage or whatever, she
The heritage is real.
she bought for
I am
you.
not.
It says on the package historical Ireland keyring, and I'm very much. How do I fucking open this thing? I believe that is really overstating the value and quality of this gift that you've been given.
Well, no, I do like this though. This is people can't see this obviously, but it's a shamrock. It's like a charm on a keyring. It's a shamrock and then a heart that says within it, "I heart Ireland." But the heart is black, Chris, which I appreciate. I feel like
Shit.
that's
Wow.
actually my
Interesting move. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it
It's just full
literally
of Guinness.
says.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Ireland in my black heart.
Yeah.
Is pictorially.
There's a tiny
what
red
this
heart
says.
within my black heart, and the red heart
That
is
loves-
representing
yeah.
Ireland.
The little red
the
heart.
Irish part of me is hidden within my black heart.
That tiny red heart loves Ireland, and the rest of your heart is black.
Yes.
I think is what this.
Well, thank you.
Your dark heart.
Thank you for.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have an email from Drew, who says, "When I was
Isn't that a rebus? What you just described? The name, like a pictogram puzzle that you decode into a phrase like that?
what?
What?
Never mind.
No, wait. Hold on. What?
Oh, I was double checking the definition of a rebus.
Were you correct?
Yes.
So what is it?
what was Chris describing? I missed it.
Him translating that saying "I love Ireland in my black heart" is like if that was a puzzle. Like the example on this page I just looked up is amazing for rebus because it shows the word "baby" in huge writing and it says, "Oh, this decodes to big baby."
Another classic Nick Rebus.
Yeah, I love it.
Subtle readers might detect a hidden message. Big baby. Nick Brecken is a baby in huge font. Those the clever among you.
All right, let's get serious here. Let's get on to the serious content.
What?
Drew writes, when I was in middle school, I somehow convinced myself that saying, "Bless you, coconut banana," to someone who was about to sneeze, I could stop them from sneezing.
True podcast.
I've always been suspicious of the supernatural, but I felt for sure these words were some form of magic. It wasn't until much later that I learned that a mere "bless you" had the same effect. And the excuse I've heard but can't trace is that since we've been conditioned to hear those words after sneezing, they trick your brain into thinking you've already done it. Have you guys ever thought you knew magic? Were you hoisted, or do you still believe? Thanks, Drew.
First, that email sounds like it contains two hoistings. Like the notion of saying "bless you" as a precautionary measure when someone's about to sneeze, to shut down a sneeze, seems super apocryphal to me.
Yeah, I don't... that was actually my first reaction to this email was, I've never heard that before. You can stop someone from sneezing?
I don't think
One,
you can.
That's a fucking, like, terrible... That's like an intrusive act. Like
it's a
I don't
crime,
want
it's criminal.
anyone. I don't want anyone stopping.
Oh man,
me
if I see you
sneezing.
looking up at the sun, I'm just gonna start saying "bless you" really like assertively to try and see if I can shut down your sneeze.
God,
Or
I would
really
be- I
quietly
would be
so that it's
pissed.
more like an enchantment.
I'll get
that
Dr.
I'm, like,
Spatzo
sending
to say
toward
it through
you.
the cubicle wall.
Yeah, I in these times I need all of the catharsis and relief I can get, and a little sneeze brightens up. It brightens up my day. Although,
Are you saying that because you're looking at the sun when you sneeze?
fuck off. Yeah, yesterday, in our timeline, we're recording this podcast like a week and a half before you're hearing it. In our timeline, yesterday was the eclipse, and that definitely was a moment of distress for me. I can only imagine our ancestors who encountered a solar
Our ancestral
eclipse without
photic sneezers.
Yeah, without warning, only to have their genetic gift stripped from them for, I don't know.
Oh, so that
5
is
minutes.
like, whatever, if you're some stupid superhero who draws your power from something or other. I imagine yesterday was the day you could have been defeated as the photic sneezer.
That's, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was vulnerable for moments there.
Your magic was you believed if you looked at the sun you would sneeze. And
In
then
San
it turned out to be
Francisco, we
real.
only got 75% occlusion, so I was only 75% vulnerable.
With 20% or 25% of my power, I could still defeat you. And then you just let out the tiniest little choo choo.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Jake,
Bless you. Yeah, your weakness is now known.
yeah, now it doesn't. Yeah,
You
it's
can
all
just say
bullshit
bless you
now.
ahead of time.
You,
magic
Jake,
powers.
for years, I mean, this is like not really an interesting.
Wait, for years I believed to have magic?
No, for years I mean, from the time I first knew you, which was like 15 years ago at this point, up until I would say only a couple years ago.
Please end the sentence by "I believed you had magical powers."
No, you would without fail respond to any sneeze in your vicinity with the full phrase, "May the Lord bless you and keep you."
Oh, yes.
This was something that you rigorously adhered to for many years.
I did it mostly. Yeah, I did it to a lot of people for a long time, which is probably left over from me being a snarky kid who went to Catholic school but resented that fact a little bit.
Right. I always just figured. Yeah.
And then I just kept it up with you and a couple friends because I knew you would appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to.
Also, I believed that it imbued me with the magical powers.
I was actually, when I read that, when I recalled that and read this email, I was trying to figure out what the deal with "bless you" is, and it sounds like over the years there have been all different sort of like beliefs about your soul escaping, and
I always thought it went back to sort of like plague times.
There was that
where
too.
It was, bless
uh-huh.
you because you might be dying. kind of
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, exactly. This might be evidence that you have the plague.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so on. There's a thing that I definitely. I mean, I obviously didn't believe this was actually happening, because if it were actually happening, I would have like destroyed the world. But I had this like A thing
this
that,
belief that sneezes could kill people.
No, I remember when I was a kid, and I've actually heard from other people that they have had like a similar thing that they totally independently arrived at, which is that I remember being in the car. Like
Okay, so before you started talking, I remembered.
Bless you.
No, I remembered the version of this for me, and it's a car thing. I wonder if it's the exact same thing. This will be interesting. Keep talking.
Okay, all right.
You'll see my eyes light up if it is
Right.
true.
And your soul darken if it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love Ireland.
If you're the one who left that poo on that cabinet, on that countertop.
Yeah.
So especially if I was in, I guess it doesn't matter if I was in the front or back seat of the car, but if there was like a sort of speck of dirt or dust, some fixed point or whatever on the window or the windshield, I would, in my brain, imagine that was some kind of destructive laser that would extend out infinitely, drawing a point from my eye through that point out into just to the horizon. And I would imagine it just like shearing off like mountains and telephone poles and other cars. And I would have this constant like concern in the back of my mind that like, what if this starts happening and I'm responsible for just untold death and
Well, why would you
destruction?
be responsible for that? You're not shooting the laser.
Because you had the thought.
Because
because
it
you
comes out
thought
of,
it
like,
happened
my
and so it
eye or
happened.
what-
It comes out of your
happens.
point
yeah,
of
it's like
view.
comes out of my
You're the
brain and,
emitter.
okay.
like casts
See,
out.
I would do that. This
You
is
had
not
the same-
this is not actually the thing, but I also
okay.
but I also imagine that. But I would do that where if it was me casting it with like a watch face or something, and then I would imagine doing that to other people. So I had no anxiety about it whatsoever. I was just
Right.
like, oh, it'd be cool if I had a laser and I could just blow this car up.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was not the thing that I was thinking of though.
What was the thing you were thinking of?
So I was thinking of the fact that I would sit there and like, be in the front seat or something and watching cars go by, and I would imagine just the worst car crashes happening.
oh no.
Just like this car's gonna totally turn left and slam into that car, and then I would focus like, don't make it slam, don't make it crash, don't. And then it wouldn't,
You
and
can
I'd
do
be
it,
like,
Nick.
I
You
did
can
it,
save it.
I did it, I saved the cars,
okay.
and they didn't crash.
So
and I would just do that repeatedly and think
Wow,
that
that's
like,
morbid.
yeah.
This reminds me actually.
And also very self-aggrandizing.
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, I don't think I actually believed that I was making them stop, but I kind of like,
But you kind
you're
of did
sort of
not believe. That
Exactly.
was that thing with mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of a magic power that I think that everyone thinks that they have up until they die because there's no way to disprove it, which is that they have influence beyond the normal interface and timing of pedestrian crossing buttons and stoplights that change what their frequency is. I think people
What?
genuinely believe if I press the button a couple more times, I've made the light change more
or
quickly.
like elevators and stuff.
Right, or like if
Oh,
I
yeah.
blink my headlights at a stoplight because I heard that ambulances can flash and it changes the
Oh,
light.
I've never even heard it.
Oh, that's a thing that people
Really?
people think is true, and
Oh,
maybe
I've never
sometimes
heard
is
that.
true, but is universally applied by certain breeds of buttholes who are like, well, I mean, I'm doing us all a favor here by pressing the button 4 more times or flashing the light, and because it changed right after I did it.
Right.
Like, I think that is like a really intense version of like myopic perception of your agency over the world, and it basically, as a kid, I think sometimes that version of that is the magic is thinking that you're doing a magic trick or that you have power. But I think as an adult, you're like, well, I mean, those idiots don't know how to press the button, but when I press it, it's going to change, and if it doesn't, it's fucked up.
You know the one that really drives me crazy because of what it suggests about people, I guess, is when you're at an elevator and you're there and you press the button already and the fucking thing is lit up.
Oh,
like the elevator
yeah.
button. And then someone comes up and they stand there for a couple seconds and they sort of look at you and look at the thing and the elevator's not there yet. And then they go up and press
You've
the
surely
button. and
noticed
it's
this
like,
since
Fuck you,
you
it's
were
already lit up and I did it.
I feel like everyone should have learned this lesson as a little kid on the inevitable day that your teacher is late for your class period and the door is still locked. The first kid tries the doorknob.
Yeah.
Stands outside of it. The second kid, it's understandable that they could try the doorknob. When the fucking 7th person tries the doorknob, that was infuriating to me as a child and is infuriating to me now. And it's like,
Although-
you don't have magic door unlocking powers. Although you're the kid who fucking unlocked the door when no one else did.
No. I was in a bar a couple of months ago. And
Oh, is this everyone waiting for a bathroom that no one's inside of?
Well, no, I was in the front of the line.
Oh, no.
Where there was no line. Single, stall, just unisex bathroom with
Yeah.
a lock on the door. And I went up and I tried it. And then I went back and waited. And a line began to
Yes.
form. Multiple people,
Yes.
all sort of looking at their phones and their watches, waiting for like 10 minutes. And then finally, the anxiety began to build in my head
Right.
as I questioned whether there was someone actually
Right.
still in there. And I went up and tried the lock again, and it just swung open. And I just wanted to fucking die.
Oh yeah, no. See,
Oh.
you didn't learn that. All rules have an exception, and this, like,
Yes.
do I have magic power over something? Fuck bar bathrooms. You have to pound on the door and try
Yeah.
to push the door open forcibly.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Worst case, you accidentally see someone, like, in someone's knee who is peeing, and then you close the door.
Yeah.
You gotta just go
Yeah.
for it with the bar bathroom.
No, I messed it up.
You misapplied.
Yeah.
Was there any reaction from the
Oh no,
crowd?
Nick did
No.
not see it because he was too busy going into the bathroom. That happened to
Yeah.
me one
What about
time,
when
Nick.
you walked out of the bathroom and had to walk?
They
past
were all just looking at their phones. They didn't
Yeah,
know
no.
what was
Okay,
happening in the
that's-
real
that
world.
was- that's-
Nobody's
yeah.
aware enough
That's an
anymore to
asset.
actually
That's an
be
asset
like
now, I
angry
guess,
at somebody for that.
Yeah.
I definitely did that exact same thing once, and then also slipped on my way into the bathroom, and fell on my butt. So,
Oh, that's the best.
So I destroyed all things.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's good. I mean, you earned yourself some immediate sympathy points? I
no,
suppose.
probably not. Probably they just went, that guy is fucking drunk and didn't even know there was someone in the bathroom. I have long wanted a like sort of conceptual artist to team up with someone who works for a city, like to find a cool city who would allow this to happen, to basically put a little debug screen on stoplights and crosswalk buttons that would just like, so you could observe it from the park nearby, where it would just light up a thing when the person presses the button and then it changes, to have it be like, I was going to change 3 seconds after that anyway. Like basically just have the debug information.
Now I won't.
Just have the information
Sure.
exposed,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
can like, don't
Yeah.
show it to the public. Don't show it to the people who are actually using the signs.
Yeah, you can only see it if you're.
Yeah, just as an observer,
20
you can
yards
just
away or
human watch. You can
Yeah.
just watch it, be like, I'm going to change in 5, 4, 3, then have someone press the button.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we kind of passive aggressively have that now with the ones that have like vision impaired beeps and clicks and stuff. Because if you're standing on one side of the intersection, your button is linked to the one on the other side, and when you press it, it goes click and does the little vibration.
Right.
And you can tell when a cool guy is across the street from you because your crosswalk thing goes tick, 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 and you're like, dude, it has a fucking light on it. It makes a sound effect. It vibrates. You're doing no one. Maybe it's that person's fidget spinner.
I actually
magical powers.
I have the opposite effect. I think, Jake, you're describing a lot of people have at this point, because I read an article, I don't know, a couple years ago at this point, that said that in an increasing number of places, I think most places now, at least in the United States, the buttons don't do anything. Like they literally do nothing. There's a pattern that that the whole crosswalk runs on, and that's it.
I think it depends on
And-
the busyness of the intersection.
Yeah, that might be true. And that has totally hoisted me now in places where that clearly isn't the case. Like, I think mainly when I go to other countries, and I'm just so conditioned to not even bothering now because I just assume it does nothing. That, I mean, I've had times where I just sit there at a crosswalk sitting through 5 complete cycles of the thing, and I'm just like, oh, that's going to happen. And then I just need to press the goddamn button.
I
And
feel like there's a life lesson here somewhere. I read an article that said that this thing does nothing, and I believed it, and now I've just thrown my life in the toilet.
yeah, well,
Always press the button, Chris. It's there for you
press
to press.
it once and no more than that.
Yeah.
And then eventually
and then
we'll
glare
go.
and passive aggressively hit everyone else and be like, you think you're magic? You're not. I pressed the button first.
I'm going to kill you with my eye laser.
I'm going to imagine a car crashing into you. But then, after I had that thought, I'm going to will
gonna
it to
save
not
you.
happen. I'm going to say, exactly.
And then when the car swerves away at the last moment, I'm going to look at you meaningfully, as if to say, I did that.
I did that. And not because you only pressed it or you didn't press the button.
Because I'm a good human being. Me, Nick Brecken. I love Ireland.
Bless you.
Bless you.
The Lord bless you and keep you.
I'm sorry that I old manned about stoplight buttons for a while.
That's okay. Jonathan Swift writes,
What?
I'm just reading what is written. Jonathan Swift writes, thought you guys might appreciate the headline of this article. To quote, researchers create flexible battery that can run on salt water. They could be powered by bodily fluids like sweat or tears in the future. This is a fucking nightmare. This is an Engadget article. He says, so what do you think? What use could we find for such an amazing device? Good Lord. There's, by the way, on this note, actually, I don't think we ever talked about this, but there are robots that sweat now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's also just like reminder that exists in the same universe as sweat-powered
So
batteries.
this is the stupidest thing in the world, but I really like that scientists have poured their sweat and tears into this battery, into this battery project, and it worked. How is that not the headline that every single person wrote about this?
Jesus.
Scientists pour sweat and tears into battery, surprised to find
Right, of a power battery. The simplest version of that headline would actually just be scientists pour sweat and tears into sweat and tears powered battery project.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
With just a picture of a scientist with a light bulb lighting up, who's also perspiring.
A scientist weeping and sweating into just a Duracell.
Oh, yeah, you're in your final minutes of getting this battery to work, and you start like the really anxious scientist starts to dab his forehead with a cloth, and then another scientist goes no, and then just puts a little glass vial there and collects
is this
sweat.
like penicillin? Was this?
Oh,
like
I was just imagining the accident version. Yeah, the penicillin version where it's just he's just crying because the machine doesn't work, and then it falls in and then lights up.
And then it lights up. Oh shit! Yeah.
What a different, horrible world this would be. Not that it's not a terrible world anyway, but let's just for the purpose of argument, what a weird, horrible world if that had like 120 years ago had happened in some laboratory late at night, and it was like there's something about the electrolytes, whatever fucking shit, that like dripped into the cell, and just that. I mean, everything. Oh, what a nightmare!
Now I know why you cried and sweat. It is to power me. Give me it. Monsters Incorporated would just be Monsters Inc. would just be what it is. We're just like we had humans laughing. That's the end of Monsters Inc. And they're like, oh, then we realize if we just literally make kids cry and sweat,
they'll just run all our shit.
And also theirs. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the real reason this research started is because things like internal medical devices that are electrically powered can't have, or they can have traditional batteries in them, but they have to be encased in multiple layers of protective equipment. Because if like a lithium ion battery leaks inside of you, you're fucked. So they're like, well, if we can have a salt battery, then it's
crazy.
Fine. Yeah. Wow. And also, you could power yourself with your tears.
Well,
the horrible roundup. Were you talking about that sweating robot?
Yeah, that was the thing that I
what a roundabout thing, though. Like, well, okay, we've invented this battery that's powered by sweat. Oh God, okay, we have to invent a sweating robot now.
Perpetual motion machine. It just sweats into its own gross collection trough.
Yeah, we put a sweat gland inside the sweat battery.
Yeah, the sweating robot, it was a while ago.
It converts the sun into sweat into energy.
I think it needs moisture from somewhere. It just walks through marshes and shit. It just sort of it can walk forever as long as it sort of trudges through the rain. It's like a very poignant robot.
Yeah, we put it in the saddest environments only. Marshes, just like sad glades, just like only like
it walks through
cemeteries,
wet, damp environments. Collects moisture, which it then weeps out into its from sweat and
at night it weeps, and during the day it sweats.
During the day it sort of it sweats out all of its anxieties, and then at night it weeps. It sort of cathartically.
Well, it also needs to get the salt from somewhere, so it has to eat. You were describing a person. It spends all of its days in an environment that makes it sad, crying at night and sweating during the day. It eats to produce the salt to generate the.
I was made in their image, says the robot.
Says
as it's crying.
Finally, they're just like us.
Now I know why you cry. As it slowly sinks into a bog and then just gives a thumbs up as it goes away. I mean, you could probably just make a really happy version of this robot that just sort of toodles around the ocean all the time, being like, I got all the fucking salt water I need. No, fuck that.
Sweating? What's it doing? Where's it?
It's just
it's
powered by salt, so it's in the ocean.
It's all
yeah.
You just got the fun robot.
It's like if I cry, they're tears of happiness, and I don't know because I'm inside an ocean of salt
like beach
water.
robots.
I love it.
Happy beach robot.
Yeah, just paddling around.
Yeah.
It's the only thing left when all the humans and the like crying sweat robots have destroyed each other. There's just one like, yeah, out of the ocean.
Recreational robots just still there.
I can live forever. Rising sea levels. Woo! More for me. The happy one. It doesn't know why you cry. It doesn't get it.
It doesn't care.
No.
It doesn't care.
Nobody cares.
But I know why I have fun in the beach.
Woo!
You want to take a break?
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to be that robot.
Don't we all?
I love you, robot.
I love you, robot. I love you. Yeah.
You love me.
I love Ireland. This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Quip.
Oh, a toothbrush.
Yeah. A really simple toothbrushing robot that fits in your pocket or your travel little toiletry bag and is always fresh and up to date because every 3 months you get a new tiny little battery and a new brush head refill to swap out, so you've got those great plaque removing bristles all the time.
Can we get Quip working on a salt or sweat or tears powered toothbrush? Just cry into this tear
Just cry
pouch.
as you, yeah. The 2 minute, the Quip comes with a handy 2-minute timer, 30 seconds per mouth quadrant, to ensure that you are both brushing your teeth for the full dentist recommended time and also weeping for a long enough duration to fully power your Quip for the next
Tears of
toothbrushing
joy, though,
session.
over how
Yeah, it's like, oh,
easy it is to brush your teeth.
They're
Definitely
so
no
clean.
sweat. No sweat involved whatsoever. Only tears of joy.
Just tears of joy. Just tears of joy. Yeah. If you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you can get 10% off your first brush head refill, and those start at only $5. Those are $5 or $10 depending on your plan. So you're all set for your first 6 months of Quip. That is tryquip.com/thumbs. Jake,
Chris.
we have a shout out.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, this shout out comes from WASD, a German video game essay magazine that is currently on Kickstarter to fund their first international issue in English.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. They actually sent us both a German language and English language sample of this. It's really well produced. It's really nice and ambitious and big and full of things. It is a print magazine that publishes issues every 6 months, illustrated, well written, and they have a Kickstarter that you can find at wasd.global, which is an
strong domain name.
approved URL. Their intention is to bring a bunch of new voices to English-speaking video game criticism, as well as working with established English-speaking writers who will then have their work also translated back to German, which is cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So the Kickstarter, again, is at wasd.global.
Naming your magazine WASD is bold, but it's good for them because in Germany they have a Quartz keyboard, QWERTZ, and in English-speaking regions it's QWERTY. But if they ever localize into, say, France, they're going to have trouble because the AZERTY keyboard, everyone who plays PC games in AZERTY areas is really upset by defaulting to WASD for movement because those keys aren't there.
Yeah.
But it's fine for German and English regions. The wasd.global domain name, though, might have to be adjusted with time as the WASD expansion.
WASD.territories.
Yes. WASD.regions.
So you can find all the details on this at wasd.global. Thanks, WASD.
Thanks, WASD.
If you would like to purchase your own personal or commercial shout-out, find out more at store.idlethumbs.net. Bryant Wagner writes, while heading into work last week, I saw a message on a whiteboard. Good words are worth so much, but cost so little. Although intended as a way to encourage kindness and positivity, a dangerous consequence occurred to me. If this statement is taken as true, and being nice is a cheap way to generate higher value than is expended, then too much niceness could inadvertently lead to disastrous hyperinflation that would destroy the world economy. The obvious conclusion is that we must stop being nice or face another source of man-made global disaster. What other adages, when taken seriously, could have profoundly harmful impacts on the world? And what should we do to prevent those outcomes?
It's true.
Yeah.
There are a lot of adages that, I mean, they're all silly, but I mean, some of them, if taken literally, are particularly disturbing.
That's a classic adage.
Right.
All adages are silly,
Right.
but some of them, when taken literally, can have disastrous
The
consequences.
one that I was raised with, the sampler above our kitchen, said all adages in moderation.
Fuck off. Yeah. This was an
I mean, if every bird was an early bird, then no birds would be early. Then who's special, Chris?
the one who
Brad Bird.
presses the button more times so he can cross the street real fast and get that
God,
worm.
Nick just said Brad Bird underneath you and destroyed everyone.
Sorry.
Good Christ.
Wow, that was actually really fucking good.
Yeah, no, that
Holy
was
shit.
the truest poll. If all adages are optimized towards, we just live in an objectivist wasteland. Apparently, if all birds are early, then no birds are.
If all
Brad
birds-
Bird.
Yeah. Fuck. God damn, that was good. Wow. I'm just in awe. That's like unbelievable.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. Brad Bird was the director of The Incredibles, for those who aren't
Yeah.
who don't know.
The
Nick
Incredibles-
is the creator
The
of The Incredible
Brad Bird was the
Observation.
director of The Incredibles, Ratatouille, and Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland.
All sort of shadow crypto objectivist works, if or open to that line of criticism
Yeah,
at least. If
yeah.
definitely, I don't want to just turn this into a thing that will generate infinite Brad Bird angry emails.
Yeah,
He also is a great animation director.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. God, fuck. I'm just totally like
Sorry.
disarmed by that.
I didn't mean to disarm
stomping. I'm
you.
sorry for stomping over your.
It's
your-
okay. The multiple minutes of respect you have paid it have
Yeah,
made up for the
your-
initial
paid your debts.
stompage.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
A thing that occurred to me, taking adages as sort of laws, like social contracts or laws, is that some of them are in direct contradiction to each other. Like I just looked up adages, and you get some that are, like stop and smell the roses. Obviously classic adage. It makes
Right.
sense. Don't rush through things. Stop and consider. But then also, a rolling stone gathers no moss. Right?
A Rolling Stone smells no roses.
Yeah. So which is better?
I don't know.
Is it better to smell a rose, or is it better to fucking get your ass going? I mean, similarly, strike while the iron is hot and look before you leap. Like one of those is grab an opportunity and fucking go. I mean, really what these... I mean, the takeaway here is that these are bullshit. These are all garbage. There's no... You shouldn't fucking live your life based on adages,
Pretty
I
much.
guess. But, there's also a bunch of egg-related ones, or egg and chicken-related ones, I guess. I mean, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. I guess that dates from, like, us being sort of an agrarian society.
It
in which
dates from the
everybody
days of the
had-
Brahma chicken when these were fucking huge beasts to be feared, and you got to just be real careful.
Don't count
around
those chickens because they're fucking
they're-
they'll
they will
peck your
murder
eye.
you.
They'll
They're
kill
like
you.
bigger than you.
Yeah. They don't like to be counted.
So that's a better one.
They get really,
Don't get near those chickens.
whenever
They'll murder you.
Don't. I mean, the thing that's important to keep in mind there is that making omelets you're putting your life on the line, because
Yeah.
when those Brahma chickens like peek through the window and see you breaking those fucking eggs,
They
they're
will
like,
break-
what the
they'll break
fuck
you.
is that? They
Yeah.
will break you.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs is actually a covert way of saying you can't get what you want unless you're willing to make extreme sacrifices for it. Because by doing so, by breaking the eggs, you will anger the giant Brahma chickens and will have to defend your life and your right to eat
Yeah,
omelets.
and then as you jump out of your house and roll down the stairs, you scream, "Strike while the iron is hot," and a Rolling Stone gathers no moss.
And look before you leap.
And look before you leap. Yeah, because
Yeah.
there might be a huge chicken there.
Yeah, there might be more Brahma chickens, clever girls waiting for you.
Yeah, and you hope that the Brahma chicken will stop and smell the roses.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, the one that comes to my mind is like
As the Brahma chicken is screaming, "Two wrongs don't make a right." It's subtitled just underneath, like.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The one I keep thinking about is if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
Which is just an amazing adage because
That's
what it
an
implies
awful,
is that
awful
like
line of
think about if that was
advice.
true. Like if every sports team that lost a game just joined the other team and just like everything just
Oh, you'd
became
have a
like a
mega
conglomerated
team.
You
mass
have
of
one
just
mega
like
team of just losers.
yeah, but then eventually
With
there would be
one-
2 teams left, and one of them would lose, and then join that team. At which
Wait.
point you wouldn't have anything left. You would just have a giant collection of people
That
that
is
have no one to play.
I mean, you say
now
this.
that's great though, Nick. That's not great. It's great.
Well, you say that. If we're thinking about this in terms of the impact on like the world economy, and I mean that is kind of the trajectory
Oh,
of
sure.
capitalism. Like,
Yeah, okay.
that is actually what happens with
That's
large,
true.
like massive publicly
you
traded
can't beat them,
corporations
sell out,
that-
and
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
can't beat them, join
yeah.
them, especially
If you can't-
as antitrust regulations are
Right.
slowly
You
eroding.
can't beat them. Stay
Get
on as sort of
absorbed by-
a CEO in name for 5 years and then leave and retire.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
If you can't beat them, make sure you have a golden parachute.
Right. Yeah.
Is right.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's
This also was the rule that we used to apply to our presidency, where the loser would become the vice president.
That's true.
He didn't
actually.
beat him and then joined
That
him.
is
that's
true.
That's so
totally
weird.
true.
God, imagine.
And then Shadow backstabbed his administration through the
Right,
vice presidency.
yeah.
A classic
Yeah,
move.
yeah.
If
What
you,
a
can't, if you
weird-
can't beat him, join him, then undermine him. Oh, speaking of that, man, Chris and I were in Ireland for our friend's wedding, which is why the podcast was on an erratic schedule.
And why Nick now has this little
Yes,
historical
physical
artifact.
metaphor
But
of his dark heart.
when in Limerick, we both toured a castle there, and I believe, at least I, for the first time, finally learned the definition or etymology of the phrase "to undermine."
Oh yeah.
To undermine someone is literally to just build a mine underneath their wall or home until
Or
their
castle.
like their castle wall
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
their
Yeah.
or their home, which is also a castle, until it just fucking falls in.
Yep.
So the phrase "someone is undermining me" literally means someone is surreptitiously digging a tunnel underneath me for the purpose of making my
Collapsing
my
your life.
my structures
Yeah,
in
just
life collapse.
destabilizing the entire foundation of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that is literal. That there's
Yeah, and then in the same exhibit, I was interested to learn about countermining, which is literally just also digging
Yeah.
from inside the castle out to meet the underminers so you can kill
so you
them.
can fuck them up. Yeah.
Except in doing so, you have like the only way that you can achieve your countermining goal is to dig a complete tunnel
Yeah.
from outside to inside because you're connecting the underminer's
Yeah,
tunnel.
you have to
your-
hope that you can get there first and then structurally keep their undermine from
Yeah,
actually undermining
yeah,
you
yeah.
because you kill them and then put some supports
Yeah.
in and then refill it.
But to be
Yeah.
a counterminer, it feels like that is a hugely risky.
Yeah.
Like you're taking a huge gamble, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
like we're going to make this thing even in some ways even less structurally sound, just so that we can,
Yeah.
like further destroy.
It's a desperate move.
It's a total.
The
Yeah.
descriptions of that were also amazing because you also have to accurately predict the trajectory of their tunnel, and it talked about how
Yeah.
the one we were in they missed, but it was close enough that they could hear each other through the dirt by the
Oh my
time
God,
the
that's
undermining
aw-
happened.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Imagine miscalculating your countermine. Christ. Imagine like popping back up out on the other
You're like,
side.
"Fuck."
You're like, oh God damn it.
Then you undermine. You're the underminer.
You're
then.
the true underminer. You've hoisted yourself.
Yeah, that is true hoisting.
That is utterly true hoisting. Yeah. I mean, I guess what they would probably do, the underminers, you could just undermine to the middle of the where your tunnel's going to be, and then put a fucking petard in there and hoist it. I mean, then you've hoisted them.
You have the word, you just say hoisted.
You say hoisted, and then
I
you're
thought
out.
I heard someone
I
say
thought I heard someone
hoisted.
say hoisted through the wall.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, classic adage: hoist by your own petard. Yeah. Imagine if that was true, and every time you had a petard, you had to be hoisted by it.
Imagine if everyone hoisted themselves all the time. Well,
Imagine the crazy, wacky world
Where
in
everyone
which
was-
hoistings were rampant.
where everyone was an idiot who fucked themselves over by their own means over and over and over again while still trying their best.
This has been a dark episode of this podcast.
This podcast is generally
Yeah, I feel like a lot of fears are being brought to the surface, much as an underminer would
fear of hoisting.
externalize. Yeah.
I'm worried that I will be hoisted. We should end on a good adage, Chris.
Oh,
You've got
okay.
so many there. What's a good one?
Here's another contradiction. Don't judge a book by its cover. The clothes make the man. So that's like there's some serious.
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing that's actually stupid about these, sorry, I mean, you wanted to end on a positive
son of a
note.
bitch.
You don't actually, I mean, what I'm realizing as I see more of these kind of self-contradictory ones is that you can just literally construct whatever worldview you want out of picking a bunch of very wise-sounding adages.
Yeah.
Like, you can just pick all the ones that correspond to your point of view and sort of construction of the world, and just be like, well, these ancient words back me up on this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jake, that wasn't what you wanted.
Oh, it's fine.
You can't always get what you want.
It's true.
Classic adage. Kurt writes, I've always wondered why there's a 5 p.m. newscast and then a 6 p.m. newscast. Wouldn't it make sense to have a singular 6 p.m. show for people to view? Keep up the good work. Kurt.
I don't know if...
Well, the thing that's amazing about the 5 and 6 p.m. newscast is that on the 5 p.m. newscast, they're constantly telling you, stay tuned for the 6 p.m. newscast. Which
they got to rope you in. They got to get those sweet ad bucks.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean,
why are there two?
I think that sometimes, at least when TV broadcast news was an increasingly new and dominant thing, like in the 80s and early 90s, which it seems like when that really became a big deal. Sometimes it was to try and have different formats.
Really? Is that true? Was it that late?
I mean, I think modern broadcast affiliate news, where they would have their own full news package, as opposed to like airing NBC News, the
national
and the national one, and then having like a 2-minute
Right,
micro
okay.
one. The thing where like we have multiple news teams that have that just do tons of broadcasting. That like, I think it sort of started. You know, it rolled up through the events of sort of that defined the baby boomer generation until it like became outrageous. I think the culmination was probably things like the tearing down of the Berlin Wall, but like rolling back to like various assassinations and wars and, you know, whatever. I think the local news took up more and more and more of its time, but I think that like we'll have our eyewitness news, and then we'll have our action news, and all of those different formats.
I love that those are all codified formats, too. It's very good.
Yeah, action news was like all of our news packages are very short and punchy, whereas eyewitness news is we have a ton of news vans, and people are on the scene all the time, and it's all like found footage. My cheeky, shitty assumption was that it was not for the viewers, but was maybe for the benefit of the news broadcasters, because as you know for sure, Chris, broadcast news is live and fucks up all the time.
Oh, sure.
So
I
maybe
love
it's
it.
just
my
to give them
favorite.
a second chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Like if you're gonna practice and put all the work in, just do it again an hour later.
Yeah.
Might as well.
No, that's true. God, if only we had the luxury to do that with this fucking podcast. I swear to God, it's like it feels like
We've done it a few times.
not in a while. Not in a while.
I suppose so.
Yeah,
This is the action Idle Thumbs Important if True action cast, by the way.
Action
We'll do
cast,
our
sure,
eyewitness
yeah.
cast later,
Yeah.
where we just go interview people. But like, did you hear about a sweat battery? And they're like,
what?
well, people may not know about the sweat battery. It knows about them. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just release the warm up one where it's like, all right, guys, we're just getting into it. Everyone's like building up that energy, and then you just get to do the real one. But they both count as like real content that is actually real and released.
Yeah.
Great, fucking perfect.
No, that'd be
Just
good.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, I'm not a local news broadcaster and never will be. I've missed my calling.
Yeah. God. I wish, Chris. I wish you were a local.
I know, I do too.
Yeah.
I can only assume that the reason that they do 2 news broadcasts is because they just love the news.
They just fucking love it. They just
They
want
love
to do
news?
news all the time.
More news.
Yeah.
It's probably because it's cheap.
They're there already.
Yeah. I mean,
Just keep it going.
if you've got someone there for an hour, you might as well just have them there for 2 hours. They're already
Yeah.
coming into the studio.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then keep them there, depressingly, to record bumpers during commercial breaks for the 10 o'clock news. That's sometimes a different guy.
Yeah.
There is definitely a central service that produces packages, which is the reason why like comedy shows or whatever can find footage of like multiple local news stations reporting the exact same story using the
Oh,
exact
is that how
same
they do that?
language.
Yeah, there's-
because they're pulling it down from some wire service or something.
There's
that's
like
just
human interest wire services that
Yeah.
just put whole B-roll packages together, so your own guy can be like, people are going crazy over this new cup.
Fidget spinner.
Yeah,
It
but it's like
clicks a little bit, and people are loving it.
Yeah.
One little tweak.
I used to
surfing dogs.
that stuff. I mean, that exists in every format. I used to work
Yeah.
for Man, for a very tiny window, I was the editor of a local weekly newspaper.
You were the editor? I didn't know
That's
that.
because the entire rest of the staff either quit or was laid off. And I was stuck for a tiny window being the editor and sole full-time writer and advertising designer and layout guy.
I heard when you said that for a second, I heard it as the editor and soulful writer.
And soulful writer. Oh, I didn't do all the layout and all the ad design because for some reason there were 2 graphic designers full-time employed, but the reporters and editor either quit or were fired all in one big burst.
Wow.
And then it was...
How did you get to stay on?
I was the person stuck in the middle who managed all the stuff. I laid out the newspaper,
right.
And as a result, and I occasionally wrote fill-in articles.
Uh-huh.
But I was literally told for like months at this shitty newspaper, like, write one feature article, like do one piece of actual reporting every like 2 weeks. Then also you have to do the back page ad feature that was like the profile of the local business that paid us a ton of money. And then literally how many pages we've sold ads for 24 pages. So you have to go on these wire services and find fucking pet care tips and rewrite all this just
was
trash.
That Contra Costa Times?
No, I don't want to name the newspaper, Chris.
Oh. Okay, because I just wanted to mention their URL, which actually it's fine to mention because it's not real anymore.
Oh, right. I think this whole thing might be gone. I'm not sure. It was the Aptos and Scotts Valley Times in Santa Cruz County, and their website was cyber-times.com. That was a miserable time.
Cyber Times.
They got it. They jumped on it before anyone else did.
No, they didn't, because the New York Times jumped on it first with Cyber Times without the hyphen.
What?
Whoa.
Cybertimes.com still reroutes to New York Times.
Holy shit, that's so good.
Really?
Why do I use any other URL to get to the New York Times?
Oh my God.
Times. Yeah.
And your hilarious little local newspaper was like, we can snag some of this sweet traffic with Cyber-Times.
Holy shit.
Does it still work?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, New York Times just kept cybertimes.com. You don't want that link rot.
No,
Cyber-Times, I don't
Cyber-Times does not work because I used to check every once in a while just to see if your whole
that was
Cyber-Times.
a fucking miserable job. I was like, I like newspapers and sort of journalism and local reporting. Oh no, what have I walked into? Then I quit and worked for a slightly more reputable weekly. But that was a nightmare. But yeah, we just had logins to websites and literally like binders, just tomes of just this garbage.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's everywhere.
Wow, Cyber-Times.
So that's why there's a 5 o'clock and a 6 o'clock news.
Yep.
cyber-times.com/thumbs.
Shall we endorse?
Let's do it.
Cool. I am going to endorse, Chris, I'm going to endorse a YouTube web series. This is usually Nick's domain, but I'm doing it this time. This was actually recommended to me by our buddy Sean. And it's a web series. It's a cooking series, actually. So, Nick, you might like it. Maybe you know of it. It's called Binging with Babish. Are you familiar with this?
Mm-hmm.
You are?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mentioned it on Idle Thumbs, I think.
Oh, okay.
In a different context.
Sorry.
Yeah. So this is I sort of mentioned it, I think, in a roundabout way. Unless I did mention it on this podcast, in which case, fuck you.
It wasn't your official endorsement, so go for it.
No, it wasn't. So this is a cooking series in which the host, the whole point is that he recreates dishes, food items that are seen in television and movies. It's like a really classic example is like the prison tomato sauce from Goodfellas,
right?
Or like the crazy, ambitious, intricate pastry from Grand Budapest Hotel. Just any number of things. Oh, there's a lot of sandwiches. A lot of movies have like sandwich recipes. Oh, have you ever seen the movie Big Night, which is a great 90s movie about 2 Italian brothers who come to the United States and set up an Italian restaurant. It's just a great, funny, good movie called Big Night. Anyway, they make this outrageous, huge casserole called the timpano, and he recreates it, and it's like an incredible, ambitious undertaking. The thing that's nice is that before he did that, he now does this full time, but before he did, he was a video production person by trade, and so they're really snappy. Nice. They're rarely longer than 5 minutes. Often they're 3 minutes. Because what he does is he edits all the video down and then records new voiceover on top, so he can really just make it as compact
that's
as
a nice
possible,
way of doing that.
and then just string one continuous voice VO over it, and it's just really snappy, really just good fun. It's just a great, easy thing to watch, and he has all the full recipes on his website.
Nice.
if you want to try making any of this stuff. I haven't, because a lot of it's kind of just like wacky things, but his process is great. And what's cool is he often will, if the recipe as described on the show or movie ends up being actually kind of worthless, which they sometimes are, because often they are not thought through.
Yeah.
He will often
make a good
go
version?
and be like, all right, so what if we try and stick to the spirit of this, but actually make it good? All right, Nick, what do you got?
Relatedly, I'm going to endorse a dumb thing that is.
Thanks.
No, I'm not putting down your endorsement, Chris. I'm simply saying that mine is dumb but related. I am endorsing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Fuck off. Fuck you.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Here is why. Okay. So obviously, as children, we eat a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I didn't.
Oh well, aren't you special?
No, I don't like peanut butter. It's a bummer.
Really?
Yeah, that was actually a real
man.
pain in the ass.
That's a bummer
as a child.
Yeah,
because
that sucks.
Everyone, like adults, are obsessed with trying to give you peanut butter and jelly sandwiches,
you
and
should fix that.
I just don't like it. Yeah, I would love to.
Well, you got to use the right peanut butter, Jif all the way. But no. Okay, so here's why I'm endorsing it. So I'm on this like sort of pseudo diet. I'm just basically getting in shape, and I find that like lunch for me is the most important meal in terms of determining whether I'm going to feel shitty throughout the rest of the day or not.
Sure.
Like if I eat the shitty, gross lunch,
that makes sense, because you still have productive hours left after it.
Yeah, and then also if you're going to go to the gym, you want to eat the right thing that will actually give you energy versus just the thing that's just a bunch of bullshit. So, and just not too much of it. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich, one, I don't know, I find them actually surprisingly delicious even as an adult.
Oh, I love them.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, Chris.
No,
Look, I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. It's the reason I'm endorsing it is that it's the kind of thing that you discount as an adult because it's just, oh, that's the thing I ate as a kid. Why would you eat it now? They're delicious. You can make them in seconds. Like, it is the fastest lunch possible. You can slap that peanut butter on there, toast it if you want, and that adds like a minute, but whatever. A little jelly. And it turns out, like, if you're watching your like nutrition, a peanut butter jelly sandwich is actually incredibly healthy, especially for somebody. Yeah, it gives you just the right amount of carbs, protein, like basically like the right kind of fat in the same way that like an avocado has like the right sort of mono something fats, whatever. You know, I don't really actually know any of this shit, but like they tell me that it's good. And
who are they?
Anyway. You probably haven't made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a while. I would recommend it. I love them, and I've literally been eating them every day for the last month, and I've lost 10 pounds. I've lost 10 pounds in a month eating PB&Js for every single day.
You could really turn this into a really predatory career. Like, I ate nothing but peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a month, and
I
I've
guarantee you
lost
that exists.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that exists.
Yeah, that sounds really suspicious. I'm suspicious of what you just said.
I challenge you to do it and see what happens, Chris.
So what are there specific, what is the bread you use? What is the peanut butter you use? What is the jelly you use?
Oh, you just want to use like a shitty white bread, just a shitty piece of bread.
Are you fucking serious? Fuck off.
What? Just a shitty piece of bread. Just a bad piece of white bread. Just you don't want the.
What is about this is like helping you in any way? It's you're just saying eat like the fucking garbage that you want to eat.
No. It's not garbage. It's a healthy sandwich. It's cheap.
It's
healthy, and fast. And most people will not think to do it because it's a kid's thing.
So you're not even dressing this up as like, oh, you have like a whole grain bread.
No, fuck it. No, white bread, Jif peanut butter, and like any preserve that you want.
What?
Just throw it on
there.
There's
literally no like rule. There's no strategy.
That's what's so exciting about it, Chris.
All right, well, Chris, I question you as a San Francisco man being incensed that it isn't some artisanal bread and a perfect why isn't it a peanut butter brought in from
Serious Eats article?
St. Louis?
You don't need a Serious Eats article to explain how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Chris.
Yes, it is, Chris.
Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Two things.
God, here we go.
Two things.
Christ alive.
Two things. No.
Yeah, sure.
Fuck off. One thing.
Yeah.
You are by your own.
Oh, I see.
By your
You're
own
calling me
hand.
out on what I would usually
you're
do.
the like guy who's like, oh, and you can only have the peanuts grown.
That's
in
why it's more
Georgia.
powerful that he is saying.
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
that's one thing. Is like you are typically able to recommend
enough.
very specific and
Fair enough.
interesting regional or otherwise like intentional and directed food choices,
Sure.
especially when it comes to sort of comfort foods.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Number two, you're positioning this as some kind of fucking weight loss measure in which you can go on an all peanut butter and jelly sandwich diet.
I'm not being that radical about it, but I'm saying you could.
I'm on a diet. I'm going to the gym. Eat a bunch of PB&J.
I think Nick is saying, in a way that is probably fair, that it's just an easy to make snack that will not totally fuck you up if you're going to then also regularly go to the gym.
Yeah.
He's not saying literally eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day. He also is saying that he's going to going to the gym and working out regularly. The actual secret, I think, to the diet that Nick is saying is eat a reasonable amount of food and work out all the time.
Yeah, but this started with the claim that like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is
Chris,
like...
what miracle diet doesn't start out with a bullshit claim?
I mean, it does. It's just that combination of ingredients does actually fit this empty wedge that you need to fill to like give you energy.
So you cut your sandwich in wedge shapes. You do the diagonal cut.
No, God, no. Oh, fuck that. No. Straight across, horizontal.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get emails about this.
I don't care.
All right. Jake, what do you got?
Well, in the spirit of really helpful good things that are real, I would like to recommend... why would I recommend something? I endorse. I endorse a Twitter account that I love that is near and dear to my heart. It is called Shitty Mario. The Twitter account is just at Shitty Mario, one word.
Is there underscore or anything?
No, just one word, Shitty Mario. And it is a Twitter account full of all of the off-model toys, off-model bootleg, or otherwise just highly suspicious pieces of Mario merchandise and paintings and sort of murals.
Super Mario.
Super Mario of Nintendo, of the brothers, of Super Mario Brothers. It's a fantastic Twitter account that is just all garbage forever. I'm a big fan of Super Mario and his appearances over time. I have a counter Super Mario endorsement as well. I have a second Super Mario related endorsement, which is sort of the good side of this, which is if you are a big Mario fan, if you were a kid who is my age,
if you are a kid listening to this podcast,
I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and Super Mario just garbage was all over the place in my childhoods, and I'm fascinated by it still to this day. I love Mario.
I know you do.
He's the best.
Yeah, I know.
It's a him. There's a blog called Super Mario Broth.
I believe it's called Supper Mario Broth.
Oh, it is Supper Mario Broth. You're right. Excuse me. Wow, you're right. It is called Supper Mario Broth, SUPPER Mario, BROTH.com, that just documents tiny, tiny, tiny bits of Mario ephemera, like from like the little illustrations in the manual or whatever, all the way down to like, what if you take Toad's face and pull the 3D texture off of it and look at what the heck it looks like from Mario 64, and like just talking about the etymology, or not the etymology, like, what is the word for that? Like anthropology almost of like Toad and the Toads and how they've been represented in 3D over the entirety of the Mario Brothers games. It's a very good blog. That one is like pulling actual pieces of real sort of legit canon Mario history apart like thread by thread, whereas Shitty Mario is looking at like your mom and pop video rental store from the 80s and the horrible Mario that they had painted on the wall by a mural artist that someone then took a picture of. That ends up on Shitty Mario. Yeah. And those two things are like,
it's a good Mario deconstruction.
Yeah, if you want your Mario, if you want a deconstructed Mario, which you can order from a food truck in San Francisco, a deconstructed Mario from an Italian food truck with a really
Italian fusion.
Yeah, it would have a Shitty Mario on the side, or it would have what someone thinks now is a really artful sort of modern hip Mario.
It's really just a Shitty Mario. It belongs on Shitty Mario.
In like 10 years, it's on Shitty Mario for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. That food truck would be called Supper Mario Broth.
Yeah,
it would be. Yeah.
Fuck.
This could be yours, Jake.
It will not be mine.
You could do it.
It will not be mine. I'll just keep reading Shitty Mario.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Important If True. If you have a question for us, you need our advice, our consultation for us to puzzle through anything, you can send it to questions@importantiftrue.com, and we will do our best. Our website is importantiftrue.com, and on there you can find links to all the places we reside on the internet. You can also give us a rating or review on iTunes if you want to help us out. That is the best way that I think we have of sort of increasing the discoverability of the show, along with recommending it directly to people who you think might like it for some reason. That is super duper helpful. It means a lot to us. And I guess that's it. We will be back next week for more. Until then, do stay spicy. For Idle Thumbs, I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
May the Lord bless you and keep you.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, sorry that there was like 5 minutes of video. It ran out after 12 minutes, but we didn't even get started until like 5 or 6 minutes into
What was our order?
Good
yeah,
stuff
good question.
only.
All right, so we got
What
Even
are
Local
we doing?
Newscasts, Blessings and Magic, Powered by Sweat for 500.
Yeah, exactly.
Adages with Consequences. That one I'm a little iffy
For
on.
500.
Yeah.
I have a few adages too.
Oh, really? Okay. Inquisitive AI Shadow. Feels like a second half to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake, how do you feel about any of these three? I guess Even Local Newscasts and Powered by Sweat are yours.
Yeah, they are, but they're rough.
Yeah.
I mean, Powered by Sweat, I don't even say first responder, I say I have one joke.